back again to Hidden in the Universal Vault. I'm Brian again, and we're continuing with the Fast and Furious train. This time, leaving the Fast and Furious and calling it Too Fast, Too Furious, aka Fast and Furious 2. Now, Too Fast, Too Furious continues off where the first film left off. If you watched my review of the prelude to Too Fast, Too Furious, you'll see why. But now we enter Paul Walker's Brian O'Connor, plus Connell, but O'Connor, where he's basically now a rogue cop, so he is now a cop who's trying to get away from police. So now he's in Miami, and we meet up with Ludacris's character, Chris Ludacris Bridges. Now, I don't know who he played, I forget who his name is, but he would later go on to be in subsequent sequels, starting with Fast and Furious. We'll get to that one later. But yeah, I also have a copy of this, and this is what the actual artwork looks like on that Blu-ray. But I did watch this Blu-ray, and the disc played no hiccups, so that will go. So I'll show you really quick. Normally should wait, but I am. So now I'll talk about this film, though. It came out in 2003. So it came out picks up after the first movie. Like I said again, now he's Rogue Cop. We're also just introduced another character, Suki, who is Devon Acro. She's the actress that will go on to co-star in Sin City. It also stars Eva Mendes, co-starring Eva Mendes. Mid for the film, they have this big beginning of the film, this big street race. Although funny enough, Michael Early appears in a small role. The actor from Barbershop appears in it in a small role. This one, out as Rob Cohen, and enter John Singleton, Boys in the Hood's director. So, Paul Walker now, he's driving, he wins the race. So he goes and he's arrested by the cops. Cops shut his engine off. He's arrested by the cops, and now he decides he wants to go meet his childhood friend Rano, I think it is. I forget. I have to look at. Let me look on the back. No, it doesn't say on the back of the Blu-ray. But he basically his childhood friend. So he's also in trouble with the law too. But he's also now doing demolition derbies. So he tries to go and tell the cops, "Hey, there's this really cool guy. You gotta hire him for what it is." So it gets crazy. I like it for what it is. So, there's some really good. I feel like this is where the racing gets a lot better. And I think that's really what makes Too Fast, Too Furious better. Sort of underrated. I don't think it's as strong as the later films, but after this movie, it really does get better. Time and time, the series will get better. And time we'll keep talking about these movies. And that's really what makes Too Fast, Too Furious that strong. Though, it also it eliminates all the past characters in the film. So the only one that returns back, like I said, is Brian. But like I said, Tyrese and Ludacris's character will go on to be in subsequent sequels going forward. But I think the action's really good, and basically it's now they're the later mid for the film they meet up with this crime guy or godfather or something, and they have to find and confiscate envelopes, and the police are trying to find out about it. There's a really good exact shots. I feel like Miami, this one takes place in Miami, and I feel the later films, it gets really better as they pick different locations. And that's what makes the Fast and Furious movies good. The cars and the location. The movies were about family, and that's really what keeps this strong. But I feel it gets time and time a lot better as the series goes forward. And that's really what makes these... It's really hard for me to review these films. I really think, like I said, I think Paul Walker is great in the lead. Tyrese being introduced. It's kind of a shame that Suki didn't come back for the later installments, because I love Suki. Suki was one of those female race car drivers that definitely really does make it that good. And really, that's the heart of this, though. Some really good action, like the thing that they had this plunger that press this button, and a guy like goes flying. I think is really cool, but I think later on they get really crazy. So we'll talk about those later on when I get to them. But like I said, I've seen Too Fast, Too Furious. I watched it once. I totally don't remember much of it. Going into this review, I realize how good these movies are, and that's really what makes these good. Though, I'll give kudos to John Singleton for stepping in the directing chair. I guess he filmed some of the shots though too. I felt the effects going into the engine was slightly improvement over the first movie. But keep in mind, this movie came out in 2003. That's also the summer that Universal put out The Hulk, which is a movie I covered on my channel. It's somewhere if you want to check out that. So it came out that same month and year that The Hulk came out. So it was a summer film. It's a great racing film. Like, the action's really good. I like the racing stuff in the daytime more than the nighttime. Eva Mendes is great in it, though. The whole cast, like I said, is really solid. And I feel this is sort of like the black sheep. It's not as good as Tokyo Drift, which I already covered on my channel. So I'm just going to let you, just a heads up, I won't be reviewing Tokyo Drift. That is what I'm not going to be reviewing because I already reviewed it. So after the next movie, this week I'm covering Fast and Furious. So you won't see a Tokyo Drift review here because I already reviewed it. So if you want to check that review out to keep you on hold until I get to Fast and Furious, you can do that. So with that out of the way, I want to talk about the writing is good, cinematography is good. I feel like the cinematography is to stand out because those exotic locations is really what makes these movies strong. It's the racing and the different locations. Like, they go all over the world in this series. But we'll get to that later. So, yeah, like I said, let's get to the negative I have of the film. And I feel like it got kind of a little hokey near the end, so I kind of called it. But I didn't really call it. No. The end of the film, I will say this, without giving away, the ending made up for the first film's ending. That was my downside with the first movie, is its ending. The ending was completely dumb. This ending makes up for what the first movie did. Although it's kind of weird that Vin Diesel didn't come back for the second one. I think either he didn't like the script or he was working on the second Riddick movie at the time. Maybe the second Riddick was being filmed because that came out in 2004. So now they got the only negative out of the way. Those are the only negatives, but that's more my opinion. So, final verdict. Should you see Too Fast, Too Furious? Yes. This is a fun but flawed film. I feel like this right there, Tokyo Drift, I feel they get it right. Like I said, a lot of people hate Tokyo Drift. I actually like Tokyo Drift. I actually think Tokyo Drift is my favorite. Probably my favorite next to Fast 5, but we'll get to Fast 5 later. Even though I watched Fast 5 once, we'll get to Fast 5 again when I cover it on the channel. So, my final verdict is, yeah, I can say Too Fast, Too Furious is worth it. Though, the gimmicky title was kind of stupid. They kind of got gimmickier when the series went forward. But I will say Too Fast, Too Furious is definitely something to check out. But I'm not going to unbox this. It's the same disc design as Too Fast, Too Furious is. So, I'm not going to show you everything. If you want to see a sort of unboxing on these films, go check out the first Fast and Furious review and you'll see this unboxing of it, though. Sort of like me showing everything. Overall, like I said again, Too Fast and Furious, good flick. It may have some flaws. I think the driving and the locations is really what makes this series strong. So, I'm going to sign off for now. Thank you so much for watching. And come back next time because we are now jumping back into the Land for Time series. So, like I said, you probably know I'm going to be flipping the series. So, the next one's going to be one of the Land for Time movies. But you'll have to tune into that, tune into my channel, and check it out, though. Hopefully I can make it to review number 200. But until then, I'm Ryan Kennard. Thank you so much for coming to the channel. Go watch Too Fast and Furious. It's definitely a lot of fun. And I'm going to sign off right now. Bye. See ya.